Welcome to Now College, where we talk about the college experience. I'm your host today, Amma, and I want to thank you all for listening, and I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be here.
Awesome. So before we get started, to let the audience know who you are,
Yes.
can you tell us your name, what your major was, and what you do for a living?
Okay, so my name is Othelia Joy, aka your favorite Liberian.
Hey.
I went to Sacramento State University for undergrad, and my major was communication with the emphasis in public relations. And right now, I am currently a healthcare recruiter.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I think I've known you for about 3
years.
3 years, 2021.
Yeah.
And I don't know your story. Like, in terms of college, like, I don't know. So this is going to be new for me.
And how we met was because I moved here for school in LA.
Oh, for your master's?
I came here for my master's.
Wow.
Yes. That's why I came out here to LA.
Oh.
If I wasn't pursuing a degree, I would not be here. I'd probably
You'd
still
be
in
at
Sacramento.
home.
Yeah. I wanted to explore and get out.
Well, Sacramento seems nice.
Sacramento's great.
I've
People
been
like
to
talk
Sanford, but
mess about Sacramento, but we're dope.
They
And
do?
Yeah, like, oh, it's boring, it's this and that. And most people who go up north, they literally stop in the Bay Area, and that's it. They don't go further up. They stop in San Francisco or Oakland, just the Bay Area.
So Sac's in the house.
Yeah, Sacramento is the house. Represent.
All right, so so from K through 12, how would you describe yourself?
K to 12, how would I describe myself as a student?
As a student.
Okay, let me start from K to 6, So obviously I grew up in Africa. I grew up in Ghana. I went to school in Ghana. And then when I came here, I came to America early 2000. It wasn't early 2000s, literally 2000, January 21st. We lived in San Jose for a year. And then we moved to Sacramento because the houses were cheaper. And then I, started going to school in elementary school. And when elementary school, man, let me tell you, I was not the best student, but you got to understand where I was coming from. I was coming from a third world country. I had the thickest accent, and so assimilating into the culture was very difficult for me. I was really shy. I hardly spoke, and elementary school was hard, so hard. I failed. I did not know how to study, nothing. I was not ambitious at all. In fact, I was actually in, I don't want to say a special ed class, but I had teachers pull me aside. They'll take me out of my regular class, only me, pull me aside to go over how to pronounce certain words. And I grew up in a very predominantly white school. So not only was I the only person from Africa, I was the only black person, okay?
That's
only
tough.
Black person.
It
so
is.
pull me out, yes. And I had to go through the speaking class, how to pronounce certain words, how to read, how to write in complete sentences. Because of my accent, I never spoke. Funny enough, I was actually held back in the 3rd grade because I was living in San Jose when we came here. Because I came when I was like 9. We came towards the end of the semester, but like the school system. I was so quiet, did not really do anything because I was so shy. So I was held back in the 3rd grade. I ended up catching up later though, but I was held back. And
Catching up later? What do you
catching
mean?
up in the sense of I got put into my regular class.
They skipped you?
Yeah, not skip me, but then I ended up progressing a little bit. But the reason why I was held back had nothing to do with me not understanding the work. I came towards the end of the school class, So let's say the class was over in June. I came like in May. So yes, I wasn't the best student. I was shy. I remember whenever I was called on to read out loud, that was like the biggest anxiety. I was shaking, and I remember having to read ahead.
Read ahead, right? Yeah.
I'm like, okay, she's doing this one paragraph, she's doing that paragraph, she's doing that paragraph. I just count, and then I read, practice until I make sure I knew how to pronounce all the hard words, right?
Yep, sound it out.
Before it gets to me, and I can read it perfectly. Yeah. What used to freak me out even more was the popcorn read.
The popcorn.
When you don't know. So I made sure that every time I was like reading every single paragraph ahead. And I was like, oh, thank God they skipped me because that word was hard. I didn't know how to pronounce it. So from K to 6, I wasn't the best student. I got D's and F's proudly. But my situation was,
I was like, to be fair.
Yeah, I was scared. Did not
You're
know
in a whole new country.
Whole new country. you know?
That's tough. I mean, you're in a predominantly white school. So.
Exactly. The country, let me tell you, old Elk Grove was the country. Now we go to Elk Grove, it's very modernized. But prior to that, it was the country. People were trying to scare us away. We had gasoline lined up on our fence. People threw eggs in our grass. This guy one time was parked in front of our house just waiting. He finally came up and like knocking. He's like, oh, is this person live here? We're like, no, we live here. They try to scare us away.
This is 2000?
2000. I remember walking I used to catch the bus to go to elementary school. I remember walking and then the lady was like, get from here, Negroes. Like, that's my little brother and I in elementary school. Yeah.
Wow. And then you're supposed to go to school.
And I went to,
and thinking about all that stuff in a new country.
New country.
Go learn.
Young girl, go learn. How can I? Mm-hmm.
Were there other kids that were immigrants as well? Or like they had like a program? Did they have something for you to like get acclimated to the school and everything like that? Or
that's technically what they were doing, like pulling me out to get acclimated with the
it was just for reading. But I'm talking about emotional, like
no.
this is
none
all
of that. And I was the only person. So not like it was a group of kids, it was just me. Literally. Yeah. So yeah, but then when I was done with elementary school, middle school, something about middle school, 7th and 8th grade, and then and upward to high school. Yeah. Something about middle school, I don't know what it was, but I just started to apply myself. And I think it was because middle school is so different from elementary school.
Was it the same town?
It was the same town. It was in Elk Grove. Yeah, and a lot of the elementary school kids from elementary school was also in the same middle school. But I think it's the structure. Because in elementary school, you only have one teacher. That one teacher teaches you all the topic, right? And then different subjects. But in middle school, you have multiple teachers. Yeah. You have your math teacher, you have your English teacher, you have like 7 classes you go to, plus lunch. So the structure was better for me, I think. I just started like paying attention, doing my work. And I think it's because I didn't have that one teacher. I didn't feel like I was a different student. Fast forward, I'll go back. But fast forward, when I was in college, I was working at Kohl's. I would see some of my elementary school teacher. And I remember seeing Miss Martin. She was shocked because I was a cashier. Yeah. And she's like, Othelia? She still remembered my name. She still remembered my name. She's like, Othelia? And I was like, Miss Martin? And she was like, wow, look at you. You speak so clear now. Aww. And you're so outgoing. She was shocked to see my growth. Aww, but yeah, so just to go back, middle school was great. Started doing really well in middle school. And then I was actually part of a program in middle school, right? It was like a program that helps minorities.
Okay, good.
So that was like Hispanics were part of that,
good.
People from another country. But I did so well. I started making A's and B's. Yeah.
This is the same town?
Same town, yeah.
How far away was the middle school and the elementary school?
Not too far. If you went to Elk Grove Elementary, you most likely go to Joseph Kerr Middle School. Okay. So yeah. It was just the structure for me was a complete difference. So it's important. A lot of the time, kids fail in certain things, and you think it's the one way. But as soon as you move that kid to another environment, they can perform so well. So that's when I started getting in trouble too a little bit for my mouth, because you couldn't shut me up. Yes, I couldn't. I always was very talkative.
You go to ISS, they send you out.
We used to go to Kerr East. So Kerr East was another building right next to our middle school. Okay. It's like separate. It's like a brick building, right? So all the kids would go there for like 30 days. And if you messed up in Kerr East, you start your 30 days all over. So
it was jail.
It was technically jail because you could not. I only went to Kerr East for like a week though. I didn't have to do it 30 days.
What is it called?
Kerr East.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, we used to have Kerr East. I went there just a week. You get in there for no reason sometimes.
What's the demographic of the people who were in there?
Oh, of course, minorities, Mexicans, and Black. So and some white kids. There were some white kids there too. The black kids talk back, but majority, yeah. But I still did well though. It was just my mouth, and then my mouth followed me to high school. High school was great. Yeah. I forgot the class name, but it was like a separate class. You go there for people who talk or get in trouble. Sure. So instead of going to your schedule, and it really depends on the professor or the teacher. So let's say if I had like geography, right, and I got in trouble at that teacher, so instead of me going to her class, I would have to go to that special class, and then I had to watch this show, black and white. And it was like a movie, like a documentary. Was it a documentary? I don't know. But it was a
Every
show.
time?
Every time. It was like a video where there is a will, there is a way. Black and white, old school.
Stop it.
And they give you the same spiel about like how important school is. Don't get in trouble, this and that, this and that.
Like from the 60s? Like,
girl, maybe the 50s.
Are you in ISS?
Right.
Don't get in trouble anymore.
Exactly. But I still did well in school. In fact, I was part of AVID. Avid,
What's that?
Avid is in a program for like kids who you see a future for them, right? And Avid, they help you to get to college in the sense of they provide you with resources. So if you're part of Avid, they will show you how to take notes, different ways to take notes.
This is through the school?
It's like program on my campus. I was part of Avid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my teacher told me to be part of Avid, because I told him like, typically Avid's for first generational kids who are going to go to college. And my parents did not go to college. Yeah. My mom only had a middle school.
Sure.
Education, dad, high school. That was it. So I was part of Avid. We did college tours while I was in high school.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And shout out to my Avid teacher, Miss Wolf. Honestly,
I was going to say, tell us the story of like the teacher telling you about it. Like what happened? Like how did you hear about it?
Let me go back. I joined Avid when I was a junior. And how I heard about Avid was because Miss Murphy, who was also my brother's counselor and mine, she told me about it, because she knew that, like my dad didn't really have the best education. We're in Africa. We came from Africa. So she told me about it, how to get into Avid so I can go to college and make sure
really
that.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I thank God. Honestly, if it wasn't for Avid, I would never had gone to college. My dad was busy, he came to this country, he was working minimum wage job, the warehouse kind of jobs. So nobody was guiding me with anything. She told me about college. I was like, well, I can't afford to go to college. I don't have the money. And she's like, there's financial aid.
Yo.
She showed me how to do financial aid FAFSA.
Okay, so what made you decide to go to SAC?
I decided to go to Sac State because, Sac State is local. And again, I didn't have the resources, even though Miss Wolf was like, you can go anywhere you want to because you have the GPA.
Okay.
And she's like, there's FAFSA. But my dad was like, hey, just go to, Sac State right here or UC Davis. I didn't really care too much about like what college I was going to, because to be honest, I didn't envision myself going to college.
Right.
I thought I was just gonna go to a junior college and call it a day.
Right,
Ms. Wolf was the one who said, girl, with your GPA, you can go straight to a 4-year university. College, that's all that matters. So as soon as I got into Sac State, I was like, that's it for me. I don't need to go anywhere else. I'm good. I was sold. My dad was happy. Everybody was happy. And I was so doubting myself. I'm like, can I really go to college? Like, am I about to go to college? Be the first person to go to college in my entire family? I couldn't believe it.
Did you know what you wanted to do though?
When I went to college, no, I did not.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so when I got to college, man, first of all, when I got to college also changed me, you guys. The funny thing is, too, when I got to college, I was actually part of another program called Cooper Woodson Scholarship Program. It's a scholarship program. Yeah, and how I heard about that was some college students from Sac State came to Elk Grove, right? Because they knew Elk Grove was a predominantly white school. So they wanted all the minority kids to go to Sac State if they can and be part of this scholarship program that give them book scholarships. So I ended up signing. I remember it was so funny because when I was in high school, they were calling all the black kids to to the principal office. And we're like, hey, you got called to the office too? You got called? There was small of us, we all knew each other. And then they're like, oh yeah, I got called. They were talking about this program, at Sac State. So yeah, a lot of us who went to Sac State were part of the program because
like,
we kind of got first dibs because of what school we went to, but such a predominantly white school.
Well, they wanted y'all, and they were like, we know there's some kids in there.
Exactly.
We got to get them out.
Exactly. So I was part of Cooper Woodson College for the 4 years I was at Sac State, and it was an amazing program. I learned a lot.
Wow.
But I still did not declare a major. I decided to do business first, right? So I was like, okay, I'll do business. Business seems cool. Technically, you're not supposed to declare them. You can always say, yeah, this is my plan major. You don't declare it until after your prereqs.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I can never. So I ended up changing my major to communications because when I was in college, I was also doing corresponding. That's my passion.
Really?
I started corresponding when I was 18 years old. And I got my first...
How did you learn? How did you know that's what you wanted?
My former president of our community, he actually ended up passing away years ago. I did my first pageant, which was Athlete. Athlete is our community. So I wrote like this, it was like a interpretation message.
This is in high school?
It was like the summer before I actually got to college.
So what made you want to do a pageant?
The community asked me. They asked me. I was part of the community. I was part of the youth in the community, and they asked me. They were looking for contestants. So.
I'm going to go back even further. How did you get into the youth community?
Because I'm Liberian. Our culture is small. We had a few Liberians in Sacramento, right? So we have a community.
Okay.
Yes.
So through that, forgive me, you said the guy who did...
The president at the time.
The president.
The president
was
of our
like, you would be
community.
good for this.
After he saw that, because for my talent, right, I did like this like motivational speaking interpretation thing that I wrote. He's like, oh, you do such an amazing job. You know what? Because his thing is he wanted the youth involved. So for our Independence Day, which is July 26th, we typically have like a park event and then we have a ball. So he's like, I want the youth involved, So he wanted, it was actually me and Manny. Manny, shout out to you. Me and Manny to host, and typically no youth have ever hosted the ball because this is a big event. So Manny and I hosted and we did so well and we had a lot of compliments and like, honestly, that's how I started hosting. My confidence went from 0 to 1,000,000.
You're like, I found my lane.
I found my niche. So when I went to college that fall, of course I decided to do business, and after I didn't fail it, I passed with a B. I still applied myself. Honestly, I've always been afraid to fail. I will work hard if I don't put in the effort, because my thing is there's 2 ingredients to be successful: time and commitment, time and effort, excuse me. If you have those 2 things, there's no way you can fail. Yeah. So I was like, let me change. And I said, well, let me do communications since it's about speaking, because I also had this preconceived notion that communication, if you're a comms major, is all about speaking, which is not true.
Nope.
Comms has nothing to do with speaking. If you want to do speaking, do journalism or mass communication. And my emphasis was in public relations,
Okay.
And I chose public relations because I can do a little bit more with that. It's a little bit versatile in a sense. So I was in college. When I was in college, y'all, I was like, I knew everybody.
Sure.
College, I just felt at home at college, man. I knew every black person. And it was more black people. And plus, I was part of the scholarship program, too. Like, all my close friends today say we're all part of Cooper Woodson. And we were like big dogs in camp among the black folks, Sure, we all stuck together. And so I knew every single body. And so whenever, like, the Greeks, right? Like, let's say sorority and fraternity will have an event, I will host. I'll always host events on campus. The African Club, part of the African Club, ASA. At one point, I was one of the vice president. Oh, no, the secretary, excuse me. But I was starting different clubs. Yeah, but I was always hosting events, Wow. So I kind of got to be known as that girl who was always, like, hosting events on campus.
Through that time, okay, coming from high school, from the AVID program, you got into Sac State. 4 years, you said?
Yeah, I was done in 4 years.
This is the second person. My brother got done in 4 years. Episode 5.
Yeah.
Got done in 4 years. Everybody else, no. Episode 4, too. Okay, maybe it's just me. Anyway.
I was done. Because I was always on track because I never failed. I never had to repeat a class.
You can't.
Right.
Yeah, if you graduated in 4 years, you couldn't.
Yeah.
So before AVID, would you say you knew how to study?
Before AVID, no. I just did my homework. When I was in AVID, they did teach you how to like study and how to take notes, how to apply yourself, things like that. But I just knew me. Yeah. I knew that I wasn't an easy learner. Like, you don't tell me 1 + 1 = 2 and I get it. I'd be like, huh? So let me write it down. 1 + 1 = 2. Okay. All right, so can 2 +... I have to really think about it. It doesn't come easy for me.
Gotcha.
I really have to apply myself and put in the work. I'm not a smart... Some people, it's funny because my dad always tells me I'm smart. Like, Ojo, you're so smart. I'm like, if you only know, sir. I work hard. Sure. I have this fear of failing. And it's rooted because I wanted to do more than my parents.
Did they tell you that? They were like, be better than me, be better than me.
Exactly. And then also in my community, I also saw how some people like treated my dad because he wasn't educated. And then I saw some people who like those who who went to college, like their house was already like super nice and stuff.
So you were aware.
I was aware, like I have to get an education, I have to go to college.
So out of those 4 years, what would you say was your hardest class?
Definitely Econ 1A because that was
that first class, that first semester.
Yeah, that's why honestly I was like,
wow,
I don't see myself in this major at all. Econ 1A and 1B. I took 1A, passed
I remember
of course.
The name.
Yeah, 1B I passed, but then after that I was like, yeah, I am done.
What about it? Was it the structure? Was it the class itself? Was it just everything? Like what specifically?
I think it's because I didn't have any knowledge of econ, and I was just very naive to it. So it was like brand new. It's like learning another language.
Well, on the flip side, what was the easiest class? Then you were like, every class should be like, yes.
Easiest class? I don't know. That's a hard question. I could never really think anything was easy. But I would say anything I didn't have to do with like math. I didn't like math, but I didn't hate it. But then I didn't really like English. I also had like brain fart.
What's your favorite subject?
I don't know. I really don't have one. Honestly, though, when I went to college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't have like a favorite subject in school because I was just across the board, just like I did well in everything in terms of like my grades, and I didn't have like it's not like I loved math or I loved English or I loved science. I didn't like anything. I just put in the work. I was in school because I knew that me being in school and getting an education can lead me to a better life. Because all I wanted was a better life.
Looking back, what would you tell your younger self?
Girl, you did that. Honestly.
Okay, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, I was going to elaborate.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Go ahead. Start all over. My bad.
I'm like, girl, you did that. Because honestly, man, it's funny because like my cousins, you know, that came after me, you know, you see how their parents are like, go to college, you know, do this, do that. Like it's a big thing now. Nobody had, I was the first one to go to school, at college, or even graduate from like a regular high school, like a 4-year high school. Most of my cousins, the older ones, you know, they had to go to continuation school, dropped out.
Right.
So nobody was really pushing me. I kind of did on my own. Of course, Miss Wolf helped me. I didn't have that, but one thing I did have was that willingness to succeed and to better myself, because where I came from, seeing my dad struggle, seeing us getting evicted, just seeing him struggle, I was like, this would not be my plight. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna go to school and get the education. Yeah. Because growing up, I thought of education was like the ticket, the golden ticket to, you know, to income. You know, I'll find a way. And it's funny because it leads me back to that video I used to watch when I was in high school getting in trouble for talking. Where there is a will, there is a way. And that is so true.
Well, we're coming to the end. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
This is great.
Have a little spot called Shameless Plug. If you can just tell everybody where to find you or what you're working on.
So, you guys all know through this podcast, I've been talking about my passion. My passion is corresponding. Right now, I created a blog about a year ago called The Glow Report Media. Right now, all I do is just like celebrity blogging. But initially, I want to start like interviewing some folks on there, just creating more great content. And then I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram at Othelia Joy. And just look out for me, y'all. I mean, I do the school thing, but I also have my passion, and that's the big difference. And a lot of you may have a passion for singing or acting, but you also have to understand that it's good to have a backup plan. If the acting don't work, if the singing don't work, you know, something to fall back on. So it's okay to do both. I was told that you can do one or the other. No, you can do both. You can go to school and have a degree in something like healthcare and still be pursuing your passion.
Well, thank you.
But check me out, you guys. This has been great. And Patience, I just want to shout you out. Thank you, Patience, my homegirl.
You're welcome.
Doing amazing. I'm so proud of you, though. You've been doing amazing. This new podcast, I can only see it going up from here because it's such a good niche, and a lot of people don't really talk about their college experience, you know. So it's good to hear all the stories, and I love it. I've been enjoying listening in.
Oh, you have?
Girl,
I appreciate it.
I support you all the time. I've been listening. Yeah.
No, definitely. Like, go out. Look for her. Look for her Glow Report for sure. Like you're supportive. I know.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
thank you.
Before we leave you all, one last thing. Research your own experiences, absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically your own.
Girl.
Bruce Lee.
Exclamation mark.
Bruce Lee, not me.
Oh, okay, got it. It was not Bruce Lee, because that was spot on. I love that. God